Next, we have a team from Brandeis University that has done a large study of the patterns of church closings, focused particularly on the Boston area. Wendy Cadge is Barbara Mandel Professor of Humanistic Social Sciences and Professor of Sociology at Brandeis. Muna Guvenc is Assistant Professor of Architectural and Urban History at Brandeis. Her forthcoming book, The City is Ours, illustrates how architecture and planning may provide opportunities for social justice. Feigele Lechtchiner is a senior at Brandeis, receiving a BA in Economics and Urban Studies with a concentration in spatial analysis and GIS. She's working on a senior thesis entitled Sacred Spaces, Public Goods, Affordable Housing Development in Boston's Catholic Churches. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us today. We, as sociologists, Wendy, Cadge, me, architectural historian and undergraduate researcher Feigele Lechtchiner, begin this project in 2022 to test methodological approaches for tracking and analyzing the closing of local congregations in Boston. We would like to highlight that we are at the very preliminary stage of this project, and we are eager to hear and learn from you and from others. And today our focus is more on the research methods rather than our findings. In this project, we wanted to examine how the buildings are repurposed or sold and how distinct actors in the area, like religious leaders, architects, local communities, developers, and planners involved in these transitions. We initially focused in the Greater Boston area as defined by the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. And our initial goal is to develop a complete list of, like a data set of congregations in the Greater Boston area that closed between 2000 and 2022. And we wanted to identify these initial patterns in the causes and consequences of congregational closings. And in this sense, we explored different resources. First, we identified congregations that closed in the area, Greater Boston, through regional and local newspapers, but of course we had limitations. We also found architects and developers who participate in church building transitions and repurposes processes. And we also reached out national and regional religious organizations and talked with the leaders about the Massachusetts Council of Churches to get their perspectives on these questions. And we also attempted to search the deeds in each of the towns in which there was a property transfer between our periods. But it is not possible, unfortunately, to search the deeds comprehensively by a building to contribute to our list of closed congregations. Finally, we also considered whether existing databases have information that would help us to build this data set. For example, we use database Data Excel to search for business openings and closings, which is designated for religious organizations. And our aim was to identify potential church closures, for instance, that were not previously identified through existing data sets, but we found that the definitions that exist on the site were very broad. We also visited a handful of these sites, and Feigele is writing her senior thesis on 2 of the case studies from the area. Our initial research allowed us to further understand the impacts of gentrification and population redistribution on changing communities, and to identify, strategize, mitigating the negative effects of these processes. At the same time, we conclude with more questions than answers as this research process and data collection continue. And we are looking forward to hear or read your questions to us. Thank you so much.